So, heading into game 2, Hera leads the series 1-0, and this is a best of 3, so this is Melkor's last chance to stay alive. Let's see if Melkor decides to go for a different strategy. In the previous game, Hera did the most common Hun strategy of scouts into archers, and Melkor opted for that double stable scout build. We'll see if anything about the map suggests that they might do something slightly different, and we'll see if Melkor opts for an alternative strategy this time. I'm going to keep team colours on because I'm pretty sure that both players played in the same colour, and as some of you guys were struggling to distinguish between teal and green on the minimap, I do like to have the different colours. Red versus blue, when you've got all those different colours, gets a bit stale, but I can appreciate that it may not make for the best viewing experience, especially as on the stream the colours aren't quite as vibrant as they are in game. Right, let's have a look at the maps. Hera this time has, I would say, quite a nice map again. Both of these wood lines are fairly substantial. This goal is very close to his main town centre. It does have the issue of the hill, of course, but he will probably recognise that and take steps to prevent Melkor getting onto that hill, as long as you can hold on to this area and probably avoid getting some towers or archers in this wood line. It's quite nice maps because the wood lines are... well, having wood lines and having a main goal that's not too exposed is always the main thing that you're looking for. Meanwhile, Melkor, I would say, has... It's an okay map. It's not one that you would say is really great, but he's at least got a nice backwood. His main goal is kind of... I'd say it's slightly further than average from his TC, and it is very sort of exposed, but he won't be hating this map too much. I don't think it's too much of a reason to be considering a restart or anything like that, and he can sort of restrict Hera's movements around the map with just maybe a small palisade over here at some point, and then some production facilities either across here in front of his gold or across here, and it won't be too much of an open map with a wood line in the back that will last for some time, at least probably into the Castle Age. So he's just taking a drink for the moment. First ball coming in for Hera, nice and safe, there's no issues there. The same happening for Melkor, so builds looking roughly similar until now. We do see this time though Melkor with 4 on wood at this early. That does indicate the potential for a drush. Hera though, 3 on wood, so we may see scouts from him, and then the standard scout into archer play that we saw in the last game. It worked very well from him. I think I like Hera made very nice use of his spearmen in that game as well, because it isn't just a scout rush that you're doing. Like, he added 1 spearman to his initial forward scouts, which picked up that really nice snipe of Melkor's scout. He was kind of luring Melkor into a micro war, and I don't know whether it was deliberate, but he allowed Melkor to feel like he was winning that little scout micro war, and then tricked him by luring him into a spearman at the last moment, and then kind of used that spearman to support his initial forward scouts, used spearmen very well to keep Melkor's huge scout army out of his resources, and then pretty much won the game by sprinkling in a few spearmen into the scout and archer versus scout fight that was ultimately decisive. So I think Hera is aiming to do a similar kind of play. This time Melkor luring in deer, which is very nice. I guess we'll be expecting a barracks to come up for him in about the next minute if he is indeed drushing. Trying to see where Melkor pushed that deer from. Actually, that's a very long distance deer lure to be doing. But it looks like he's going to continue pushing them from there. I doubt he'll push all of them in, because as I say, that is a long distance lure which is going to take up a fair amount of time. Hera's deer would be borderline impossible to lure with the geography of this area or the terrain. Where we can see that Melkor has, well, did have, I think, just 2 berries for a little while, and whilst he was pushing in those deer, so he's a little bit later to get 4 berries. Looks like Tafflebot is still working. Unfortunately, it was having huge problems last night, so had to get Taff to fix it today. Last night, even after we fixed it, it went down almost instantly. Looks like it might actually stay up today, which is good. So I know the stream always loves engaging with that. So both players clicking up to feudal on 21 pop again. Melkor must just like doing the if he's doing scouts again, which so everything seems to suggest that he is at this point. He must be one of these players who does the 4 onward scout build. Slam is someone that does do that. I think I've actually watched a video in which Tony dissects that Dark Age in great detail. And to be honest, even though I'm a very mediocre player compared to any of those, that's something that I like to do because it's just something that I've always done since I very started playing the game, and I just feel more comfortable with it. So even if I'm doing scouts, I do 4 onward as well to start off with, and I feel like it has the advantage that players don't instantly know if you're drushing or not, or they might think you're drushing and then you're not, vice versa. I don't know whether that's why Melkor chooses to do it, but certainly the 3 onward to start off with is more conventional if you're going to do scouts, but Melkor, like a 4 onward scout build is very viable, and it seems like Melkor likes to do that. I've actually not kind of like seen him play very much, so I've never really noticed if that's his thing, but that's interesting because as I say, I like it. And it's nice to see that there are multiple players out there who actually do it, and not just Slam, because Slam was the only one I'd actually noticed doing it before, I think, or had it pointed out to me that he does do that. So maybe I can have a look at some Melkor recordings as well, see if he uses that more often, and maybe learn something from it myself. Stable coming up for Hera here. I said earlier on that this area was something that Hera needed to be careful of because it would allow Melkor to be hitting both his gold and his wood from downhill, but Hera's going to take that away literally by plopping his production facility right on top of that hill, so that it's not even a case of pushing Melkor away from that flat area on top of the hill. He actually can't even stand there because there's a building there, obviously. Melkor also doing scouts as we predicted, throwing up a nice little wall here. This will stop the Hera being able to attack him, this wood line from both sides. Did see that both players chose to get a spear again and straight away. Be interesting to see if Hera sends another spear forward with his scouts when he eventually decides to leave his base, as he did in the previous game. Melkor jumping on gold now. In the previous game, Hera was first on gold quite heavily, and that signalled his intention to either transition straight into archers or potentially get bloodlines first. In the end, he opted for archers. This time, with how Melkor is jumping on gold, we may see him go for that more conventional scouts into archers play, or it may be that he just wants to get bloodlines really quickly and then transition into it. We shall see. First engagement coming in. Looks like Hera possibly has 1 more scout in this engagement. It's hard to count them as they're running around, but this time Hera doesn't have the advantage of having a spear mixed in amongst the scouts. 1 scout for each player did go down, and it seemed like Hera did indeed have the numbers advantage by 1. For now, Hera staying with just the 1 defensive spear. In the previous game, he actually got out quite a lot, as well as that forward spear that he sent. I think he built another 5 back home and then lost 2 and built another 3 or something like that. So we'll see if he actually comes out with any more spears. But this game, it seems like it's Melkor is going very, very heavy on the spearmen. The sort of I don't know, like the optimal Huns play, I guess, is to build as few spearmen as you can get away with, because ultimately it's food and wood that could be going on farms or more scouts or something like that, or your castle age time, and especially if you're cranking out too many spears in the very early stage, then it can compromise your economy and your building up of your army through the accidentally press a mouse wheel through the feudal age. But sometimes it's just better to be safe, and we can see that Melkor did have a very open map at the front, and he's just trying to protect that with spears. This goal is very forward, and combined with some walls, there's literally no way Hera is going to actually charge in through this gap when there's 4 spears there, unless he's suicidal. A couple of free hits from spearmen coming in onto Melkor's scouts. Melkor's just going to try and probe away and see if he can attack something here, but actually he's hitting a farm accidentally there. That scout is on very low HP and is about to die. Over on the gold here, it looks like Hera did move in against the number of spearmen here, but Hera with bloodlines, and bloodline scouts, if they outnumber the spearmen and can just swarm them, basically will take down spearmen quite quickly, and that's why Melkor has been forced away from the gold. You can see that Melkor is going for that more classical Hun scouts and archers play this time. Also going to be getting a blacksmith up very soon, so I imagine we'll see fletching. Hera likewise, scouts and archers. Seems like he's a little bit behind Melkor on archer production for now, but whilst the 2 sets of archer armies are on opposite sides of the map, that's not going to matter too much in the very short term. Hera may be thinking about diving past the town centre here, but he's going to actually run into a spear and lose 1 scout and half of the HP on another one. And with so few scouts, he's kind of thinking, is he thinking better of diving in past the town centre? No, he's not, he's going for it. And there weren't very many villagers to shoot at the scouts as they went past, but that's only 1 full HP and 2 half HP scouts, and with a spear and a few villagers, that's going to come to nothing for Hera really, besides the nuisance value of it. Melkor coming forward, 4 scouts and half a dozen archers, but by this point Hera has just as many archers of his own, continuing to create more and 2 spearmen here, so Hera will be coming out on top of that engagement. If Melkor did move in, skirmisher coming out for Melkor. Remains to be seen if he's actually thinking about including skirmishers in his army, or whether he just wanted to keep his ranges working at a point where perhaps he didn't quite have the goal to continue producing archers in the meantime. He's also saving up for the Castle Age click, which you can see he's just managed to do. So he's just done a small feudal age army to kind of skirmish with Hera and then go up to the Castle Age quite quickly. Hera's resources, meanwhile, not going to allow him to get to the Castle Age too soon. He doesn't really have the number of farms to have clicked Castle Age this early, considering he made a couple more scouts and got bloodlines, which Melkor chose not to. But that would have been very dangerous for Melkor's scouts if he'd actually continued to try and see if he could get into that lumber camp, because there were so many archers uphill from him. More free hits from Hera's spears on Melkor's scouts there, and nice micro from Hera here. Although he's got the archer numbers, he is downhill, but he's managing to pick off almost every archer of Melkor without losing too many of his own, and all the scouts of Melkor going down now. So that's a very nice thing to happen for Hera, because Melkor is on his way to the Castle Age, and if you can destroy an opponent's army before they reach the next stage, it's always brilliant to just kill those units off before they get upgraded into superior units. with the next stage technologies. So having picked up such a nice fight, Hera is now moving out. In the previous game we saw that Hera, when he won a decisive fight just outside of his base, he moved out immediately and tried to do damage at Melkor's base. He's doing the same in this game. The difference being that Melkor is going to be getting Castle Age upgrades too soon, but he doesn't want to lose his army like this. It's very unfortunate for him, but he was moving into Hera's army, not quite paying attention, and Hera microing well with this, looked like stop micro there, just picking up every unit of Melkor's. And now a lot of villagers going down. Melkor 8 villagers behind now. It's really no use being in the Castle Age with 4 archery ranges and making all those upgrades if you're losing your units for very bad trades, in very bad trades. Melkor on 2 TC though, and getting up a university, so he's perhaps thinking about early ballistics to try and take some fights where he's not trading badly all the time. Ballistics obviously a very big difference between well, non-ballistics versus ballistics is a very big difference, and allows you to win micro wars so much more frequently if your opponent hasn't got ballistics. But right now he just doesn't have the army to apply ballistics to. There's 2 cavalry archers and a knight moving out here, 2 crossbowmen and a skirmisher. And Hera's going to be in the Castle Age soon. If he just goes and hides these archers somewhere over here maybe, and then comes back in with crossbow, he could pick up some kills on this wood line, but instead he's going to try and move in with the feudal archers as well. But what he's at least doing is forcing those villagers to move and making that lumber line incredibly inefficient at the moment. Look at that. See what this knight and 2 cavalry archers are able to do. No +1 armour on the, or bloodlines on the knight, so this group of archers will just pretty much 2-shot the knight very easily. Knights obviously pretty much destroy everything from the feudal age if they've got some upgrades applied, but just 1 or 2 knights without any upgrades will just die almost immediately. And a very nice trap here, just dumping a mark at Hera, and he's going to pick up all 3 of those units instantly. But whilst he was doing that, it seemed like maybe these archers were on stand ground, because 3 kills to none there was a bit odd. Perhaps the archers were on stand ground and then this crossbow was just standing out of range using its +2 range. The knight did survive though, just 30 HP, but so it won't be of too much threat to anything of Hera's anytime soon. Villager counts are roughly equalising. Melkor should be able to take the lead if Hera doesn't put a town centre up fairly soon, but for now Hera is in a commanding position. This army of crossbows is much, well, I was about to say it's much stronger than anything Melkor has, but now that Melkor is starting to get a few cavalry archers on the field and a mangonel, he may be able to defend this and just try and out macro it and get back into the game slightly. This wood line though is more or less gone. I said it would probably last until the Castle Age, and that's what happened. And Melkor doesn't really have a good second wood line near to his original base. He's actually running these villages through Hera's crossbows. Hera's actually noticed that now and is starting to micro it, so we could be seeing another couple of Melkor's villages go down. That TC is a TC on a very tiny wood line. I understand that at this moment it's very critical that Melkor does secure another wood line, because he almost doesn't have wood to take. But you have to think that maybe he could have gone out a little bit further and put it perhaps here if he had the army control to prevent well, the army numbers to actually control that area. Right now though he's a little bit on the back foot and can't really lock that area down. Mangonel here may pick up Hera's army though, and that's a really nice attack ground shot. Almost all of those crossbows either taking damage or dying. This is just chaotic over here though. Villagers going down or just not working, moving around to the wrong side of the forest as well, where they're easy prey for the crossbows. Couple more mangonel shots, not really having such dramatic effect as the first one, but that's a very nice shot which more or less clears up that attack over there. This is just a mess though. Almost every villager that came out here has gone idle or is hiding in the TC. In fact, there's like, what, more than 10 villagers there and about 3 are working. Melkor trying to retaliate with some raiding, but he's going to run into Hera's TC. Hera's second TC, that is. Finally, those crossbows being cleaned up by the mangonel. 3 hits from the spears on the cavalry archers, and now another 3 downhill hit from the spears. A little bit unnecessary. That didn't look like Melkor just for a split second was paying attention to it. And now all of those cavalry archers will be trapped by this huge mass of cavalry archers from Hera. Hera, meanwhile, just out-microing this mangonel, taking down the villager. Thinks better of trying to continue microing against the mangonel when it gets that close to the TC, because another villager could just pop out and repair it quite easily. There's no need to... Well, I thought that I was going to say that there's no need to take that risk too much, but now he's just lost almost all of those crossbowmen in an attempt to micro, but perhaps he wasn't quite paying... It was like switching back and forth between the two things and not quite paying attention just for a quick moment. Did manage to take down the mangonel there, and that means he could just put those 2 crossbows there again and idle all these villagers for some more time. But army numbers are just looking dreadful in terms of Melkor's prospects to win this game and to equalise the series at 1-1. Hera's got that massive cavalry archers where he can just be an absolute nightmare for Melkor, because Melkor has quite an open map. He's done his best to try and make it so that Hera can't move around it everywhere, but having lost this wood line at the back, he's been forced out more into the open, and these cavalry archers are going to be tough to defend, because it's getting to the point where one mangonel isn't really going to threaten that group of cavalry archers too much, and you could just split those up into 3 or 4 groups, one over here, one over here, one over here, and just idle everything in Melkor's economy. Hera is on 3 TCs, he's got them in nice spots, securing a nice large wood line and gold there, and also stone. Hera just being a bit like a troll now and just destroying farms. I actually love that. I just think it's just such a funny thing to do to your opponent, just destroying their farms, because it's just so, as Malmana would say, it's just so cheeky. But it really is a way to just waste resources for your opponent, drain their resources either. And usually, like, if you've just got some archers over here, just quickly just shoot up a farm in a few shots and run away again. It's a really nice sort of harassment tactic. Husbandry coming in for Hera as well, so his raiding is going to become much more effective. He's going to be able to just continually pop up in different parts of Melkor's base, get off a shot or 2 and then disappear. For now though, he's running into 2 mangonels, but neither of them got a shot off. Well, actually, sorry, one of them got a shot off and one of them didn't. And none of those shots actually landed on Hera's cav archer, so that was a really nice move for him. But now, and 2 mangonels there again. Hera taking some damage, but not really much, considering he picked up a mangonel then without actually completely losing a cavalry archer. That was quite a nice trade. And Hera just moving in with yet another large group of cavalry archers over here, so he's going to have two groups of cavalry archers appearing on either side of Melkor's base. I'm assuming he's going for here, but Melkor just doesn't even think he can fight this, let alone fight this, which he hadn't even seen yet. He GG just before this second group of cavalry archers appeared in this wood line, but almost certainly if he had delayed it just a few seconds longer, he would have probably called it as soon as he saw those cavalry archers, because he would have known at that point that Hera had 2 or 3 times the army size of him. And he also, Hera has just been in he's building up his economy a lot better. Like Melkor, when he had this wood line at the back, run out, then he came out over here, and he had sort of lost about 5 villagers over here, and then another 15 were mostly idle for a very long time. Whereas Hera's economy has been undisturbed for most of the game, and Melkor saw that when he sent in 1 or 2 units, a couple of cavalry archers and things running around here, and just seeing that Hera had quite a nice economy running. So Melkor, in combination with the score difference, just seeing that there was no way back for him in this game. That means Hera wins the best of 3 series 2-0, quite convincingly, I would say. Both of the games are very short, probably less than an hour's total game time for the 2 games combined. That's game time, not real time. And so Hera is looking very good as he moves into the next round, where he will face the winner of the match between Alive and Spring. You can see that Hera picked up more kills in that match, obviously, because he had the larger army most of the time. As I said, got his economy up and running first. Although he was second to the Castle Age and second to add town centres, I think he was on 3 town centres first, possibly. Don't quote me on that, but certainly he had them all running and his economy booming up much more quickly and efficiently than Melkor did. And we can see that by the end of the game, 30 more villagers.